Good morning guys from my hotel room in Barking, London, United Kingdom, where we are at the moment in the grip of Storm Kieran. Gusty winds looking out the window, heavy rain forecast. Scuppered most of my plans for the next few days, to be honest. We're currently on plan D, which is, we're going to head down to North Woolwich, where I believe there is a free ferry in operation across the Thames. So, we're going to check that out. Never been there before, so, see what it's like, and I will catch you on the boat. So I made my way down to North Woolwich, changing at West Ham for the Docklands Light Railway. I always look forward to travelling on the DLR when I'm in London. Because they don't have any drivers, if you're lucky you can sit at the front and pretend you're driving the train. And here we are at King George V station, which is the one you want for the ferry. Now, don't forget to tap out, and after that it's a shortish walk, 10 minutes the sign says, and I reckon that's probably about right. 10-minute walk by the looks of it. What's 10 minutes when you've got so much excitement at the end of the walk? Now when you get to the Thames, you basically just follow the vehicle access route, and then when you arrive, you're greeted by a solitary bus shelter. All I can say is, it's a good job it wasn't raining much, and it's a good job there weren't many more foot passengers if it was. Right then guys, so at the Woolwich Ferry, North Woolwich end. The ferry's just left actually, the Willicott, which is just behind me there. So I don't know, it probably takes about 10 minutes at the most to get from one side to the other. So it's not going to be long before it comes back, is it? So just a case of hanging around here. There's not much to see or do. It's kind of a random bus shelter which I shall be making good use of because it's just starting to rain. But just waiting now, and we'll get on board and see what it's like. So as you can see here, there are 3 ramps. The left one is for vehicles driving on, middle one's for vehicles driving off, and the narrow right one for foot passengers walking on, walking off. And while you're waiting, there's not a great deal to see or do, but you have views upstream of the river where you can see the Thames flood barrier, and behind that in the distance, Canary Wharf, and on your right, the Tate and Lyle sugar factory. And if you want spectacular river views of all the well-known London sites, and bridges by the way, you should check out my video on the Uber Boats Thames Clipper. I'll link to it up here. So I waited around a little bit more, and the ferry started to make its way back across the river. Interesting to watch this, as it seemed to crab its way across the water. Now, I don't know whether that was because of the windy conditions or the tide or what, to be honest, but I'm sure one or two of you can tell me a little bit more in the comments below. The ramps lowered and the automatic barriers were raised, allowing me and the other 3 people previously huddled together in the bus shelter to make our way onto the ferry. There are not many foot passengers on board today. There are other quicker alternative routes available, one of which I will be showing you in a bit. For me though, this is far more exciting. Foot passengers are completely separated from the vehicles. Capacity is 150 foot passengers, of which 67 can be seated. Now there is a long, basic enclosed area with seating and what looked like air conditioning, we won't be needing that today, and a bin. No toilets are provided. I made my way straight through and onto the outdoor space at the other end of the ferry. Right guys, on board the Woolwich Ferry. At the front, I think, there's just been a passenger safety announcement, and there's not a lot to show you really. Obviously you've just seen me walk through the passenger shelter, passenger lounge as they call it. 67 seats according to that sign just up there. There's no toilets or anything like that, but it is very welcome when it's pouring down with rain. Unfortunately the rain's keeping off, so I can stay out here and show you the crossing. It should only take about 5 to 10 minutes, even in these conditions, so we'll see how we go, and I'll catch you on the other side. There's been a ferry crossing here between North Woolwich and what is now Old Woolwich since the 14th century, and it's always been a popular route, partly due to the lack of bridges in the area, but even more so since 1889, when tolls were abolished on West London bridges by the newly established Metropolitan Board of Works, and the free ferry provision was put in place. Originally operated with the paddle steamer Gordon, a sister vessel was soon introduced, and by the 1920s a third vessel had been put into service. And by the 1950s, vehicle traffic was finding it quicker to use the Blackwall Tunnel about 2 miles upstream. And in 1963 the paddle steamers were replaced and the service upgraded to the more modern roll-on and roll-off model still in use today. The GLC, a Greater London Council, were in charge at the time, and since then various other authorities and companies have had a go at running the service. It is currently operated by London River Services, a division of Transport for London. Currently operating between approximately 6 AM in the morning and 8 PM in the evening, and 11:30 AM until 7:15 PM on a Sunday, the service carries about 50,000 passengers and 20,000 vehicles a week. Occupants of vehicles, by the way, are counted as passengers. The two ferries on this route, Ben Willicott and Dame Vera Lynn, were built by Polish firm Remontower in Gdansk. The diesel-electric hybrid vessels have been in service since February 2019, but at the time of my visit only one, the Ben Willicott, was in service, though I believe this has actually been the case since 2020, with TfL stating it's something to do with staff shortages. It sounds familiar, doesn't it, that? Anyway, as a result of this, there has been a 70% reduction in capacity apparently, and yeah, wait times are inevitably longer than usual. The Ben Willicott, incidentally, is named after a ferry worker on this route who was tragically killed after falling off the vessel and into the Thames. And the resulting investigation cited unseamanlike working practices during unmooring. Well, let's hope lessons have been learnt, and I think the naming of the ferry is both a fitting tribute and a reminder of the importance of health and safety in the workplace. But by the way, the other ferry, Dame Vera Lynn, was chosen because she originated from nearby East Ham, and there is a tradition of naming ferries on this route after local people. Well, as you can imagine, it wasn't long before we'd crossed the murky Thames and we're coming into dock. The south terminal looks pretty much identical to the north, doesn't it? Having both been constructed at the same time and opened in 1966. The TfL refurbished the piers in 2014 and repaired them in 2018, at which time the ferry services were suspended. In fact, when I was researching this video, it did seem like the service was a little bit temperamental. There have been numerous technical issues with the current vessels, resulting in closures and service reductions. And as I said earlier, it appears that only one vessel has been in service since 2020. But have you travelled on the Woolwich Ferry? How did you find it? Please let me know of your experiences in the comments below. I disembarked, which was a very easy process of just, standing there waiting for the automatic barrier to lift up and then walking off. And we are off. I have 4 foot passengers on board. And yeah, not bad, was it really? That probably took about 10 minutes from end to end, with docking and all that. And the best of all, it is free. Now, next thing I've got to do is show you something fairly interesting, I think, and it doesn't involve ferries, but it does involve me getting across to the other side of the water, back from where I've just come from. So follow me, we're just going to head round there and see what we find. Guys, here I am, found it at last. It's not that easy to find, it's kind of behind this massive leisure centre somebody's built between the road and the entrance. But yeah, it is the Woolwich Foot Tunnel, and you can just about see, before the ferry gets to it, the other end, which is just over there, which I reckon is about 400 or 500 yards long, something like that. Anyway, we're going to go down and we're going to walk it and see what we find, and I'll tell you a little bit about it as we go along. Well, to be honest, I think there's a quick footpath you can take by the river between the ferry terminal and the tunnel location, which I completely missed and ended up going all the way around. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a shame here that the tunnel's south entrance has just been dwarfed by this massive, horrible looking leisure centre. You know, a real piece of history which deserves to stand alone with some kind of prominence, but yeah, obviously not. And yeah, I reckon if they could have, whoever was responsible for building this ugly leisure centre would have just knocked the tunnel entrance down. I think we take the lift here, and according to the sign, the north lift's under maintenance, so yeah, It's typical, isn't it? So we're going to have to walk it. So we'll take the lift down to the tunnel and we'll walk up the other end. And here we are inside the foot tunnel. Very similar to other foot tunnels I've been in under the Thames, to be honest. Like the one at Greenwich. I can't see the other end yet, and there's not much to see when you're down here, to be perfectly honest about it. But we'll have a walk through anyway. And there's one other person coming the other way. That's about it. So yeah, I'll see you on the other side. Opened in 1912, the tunnel serves as an alternative to the ferry for foot passengers and cyclists. If you've just missed the one vessel currently in operation, I reckon this is the quicker alternative, yes. Both tunnel entrances, I should mention, are actually Grade 2 listed, which is probably the only reason the south entrance still survives. Right guys, so we're just about at the point in the tunnel where it's levelling off. I think we're pretty much halfway. So we must be at the deepest part underneath the Thames here. I would like to know how far it is to the surface of the water, and also how much water is on top of us in terms of pressure, because it always makes me feel a bit when I'm in one of these tunnels, when I think about how much water is between me and the surface and the roof of the tunnel. It must only be about 9 foot to the roof of the tunnel. I don't know how thick it is either. That would be interesting to know, wouldn't it? But yeah, please comment if you know the answers. Onwards. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but in 2010 the tunnel was closed due to structural weaknesses, and it took more than a year to reopen. Well, I guess it's something that you don't really want to advertise, is it, that? Anyway, around 1,000 people use it every day, and although no cycling is allowed, I bet most people ride their bike through it. I reckon I would, to be honest. Right, so yeah, the lift's not working, so it's up the stairs we go, unfortunately. Let's see how we go. "127 steps I counted to the top. Let me know if that's right or not. Easy for somebody at the peak of their physical fitness like my good self. And after I'd staggered through the exit and spent the next half an hour recovering, I just took a minute or two to summarise the overall experience." Right guys, yeah, up and out of the other end, the north entrance to the Woolwich foot tunnel there just behind me. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that really. Little trip over the Thames on the ferry, the Woolwich Ferry, and a walk back via the foot tunnel. I would definitely recommend it. So you can come down here, you can have a go, and best thing of all, it's not going to cost you any money. Totally free. Thank you very much for watching. Please join me on another adventure soon. I hope you enjoyed this one. And as always guys, cheers for now. Right. At least the rain kept off. I'm going for some lunch.